Love was never the fairy tale you were promised. It isn't just butterflies in your stomach or fireworks in the night sky. Real love doesn't just feel good. It demands something from you. It doesn't whisper sweet nothings. It stares you down like a mirror, showing you everything you'd rather keep hidden. It exposes you, and it doesn't care if you're ready or not. There's a fear she carries, though she won't say it aloud. It's not fear of being left behind or cheated on. It's something deeper. She knows that real love doesn't allow her to hide. That to be truly seen, to be truly chosen, she has to shed the comforting lies she tells herself. And those illusions, they've protected her. They've made her feel safe. But love shatters illusions and demands truth. It's not about finding someone perfect. It's about becoming someone who can carry the weight of something real. So when love knocks, not the daydream, not the fantasy, but the real thing, the question is, will you be ready? Will you be strong enough not just to receive it, but to hold it, nurture it, endure it? Rejection. Now that's a kind of pain most don't talk about until it hits. It doesn't just bruise you, it carves deep. It tears open the quiet, hidden place where your self-worth lives and throws a cruel question right in your face. Am I not enough? Being ignored isn't just silence, it's a wound. Whether it's a friend who disappears, a lover who goes cold, or a world that acts like you don't exist, it strikes at your core. It makes you question your value, your presence, your existence. But here's the hard truth. Rejection isn't a verdict. It's not proof that you've failed. It's not the universe passing judgment on your worth. It's a signal, a redirection, a push from something greater than you, moving you away from what you wanted and toward what you needed. And that's the part that hurts the most. The loss of what you thought would be. The version of the future you were sure was coming. You feel pain not just from what's gone, but from what never had the chance to become. But maybe that future was never really meant for you. Maybe it was just a shadow, a comfortable illusion. How many times have you chased someone, convinced they were meant for you, only to realize later they weren't even capable of meeting you where you were going? How many opportunities did you cry over, thinking they were lost, when they were actually cages dressed as dreams? We cling to the idea that if we just work harder, show more heart, say the right things, we can earn what we desire. But life doesn't operate on that logic. Wanting something doesn't mean it's yours to have. And sometimes the very thing you wanted the most was the very thing that would have held you back. But rejection? Rejection has a strange power. It can be the fire that reshapes you. Look around. The world is full of stories that started with a no, with a silence, with someone walking away. And yet those stories didn't end there. They became something more, something legendary. People turned down, left behind, ignored, who became so undeniable they couldn't be overlooked anymore. That could be you. That will be you if you let the pain sculpt you instead of destroy you. Still in the moment, it's chaos. Your ego kicks and screams. You start replaying every moment, wondering what went wrong. You search for reasons, something, anything, to explain why you weren't enough. But all that noise is a trap, a lie. The need for approval, for someone to validate you, to confirm your worth, it's poison. Because the moment your identity depends on someone else's vision, you give away your power. And what a loss that is. To let people who couldn't see your light convince you it wasn't there. To bend and break, hoping someone will finally say, I see you. No more. When you're ignored, when someone pulls away, it's time to see it not as rejection, but refinement. Life is removing what doesn't match your next level. The silence isn't empty. It's making space for better, for what's real, for what sees you. You don't respond with bitterness. You respond by rising, by becoming so centered, so strong, that your value is unshakable. Not loud, not arrogant, just undeniable. You stop begging for closed doors to open. You stop chasing people who turn their backs. And the moment you no longer need the world's validation, that's the moment the world starts to take notice. There will come a day when the very ones who ignored you will wonder how they missed it, how they failed to see the strength, the brilliance, the quiet force you always carried. But by then, you won't even be looking in their direction. You'll be too far gone, too deep into your purpose, your peace, your power. Still, the silence will tempt you. You'll feel the urge to make sense of it, to explain it away. Maybe they were busy. Maybe you said the wrong thing. Maybe you just weren't enough. But that's just your mind trying to find a reason. The truth? You don't need one. Silence speaks, loudly. If someone can withhold their presence, their attention, their care, they already have their answer. People don't neglect what they value. They don't ignore what they cherish. Attention is a currency. And when someone chooses not to spend it on you, they're showing you where you stand in their world. Don't beg for clarity. Don't wait for closure. Take the silence for what it is, and answer, and then walk on. They won't make you question where you stand. You won't be left deciphering mixed signals or wondering what they meant by their silence. When someone truly values you, they'll show it, not with vague promises, but with their presence, their consistency, their effort. And when they don't, that says everything. As painful as it may be, you have to hear what their actions are telling you, even when their words say nothing at all. The problem is, most people don't want to accept that truth. They don't want to see what's right in front of them. They'd rather hold on to a fantasy of what could be than face the cold reality of what is. It's easier to believe there's potential hiding behind the silence than it is to accept that the door has quietly but definitively closed. Because accepting that means letting go. It means mourning the version of the story you hoped for. It means surrendering the illusion of control over someone who has already chosen to walk away. But what does it cost you to keep holding on? What happens when you keep investing in someone who has already stopped investing in you? You lose time. You lose energy. Most importantly, you lose pieces of yourself. We've all seen it. The person who keeps reaching out to someone who never replies. The one who keeps making excuses for someone's absence, pretending it's unintentional. The one who waits for months, years, clinging to someone who left them emotionally long ago. Hoping, just hoping. And for what? There is no victory in tolerating neglect. There is no strength in staying loyal to someone who has already let go. You don't become more worthy by proving you can withstand being overlooked. That's not proof of love. That's proof of self-abandonment. The turning point is when you stop interpreting silence as an invitation to try harder. When you stop taking indifference as a challenge to prove your value. You don't earn love by enduring pain. You don't win someone over by shrinking yourself just to keep them close. And sometimes their silence has nothing to do with you. People disappear for reasons buried deep within themselves. They avoid confrontation, they lack the emotional depth to show up fully, or they're trapped in their own storms. Some people simply were never meant to stay. Their presence in your life was always temporary, no matter how permanent you wanted it to be. But even if their absence isn't personal, the result is still the same. They chose to leave, and that choice speaks louder than any words ever could. So believe them. Believe the silence, not because it confirms your fears, but because it gives you clarity. When someone can walk away without explanation, when they can ignore you and leave you to question your worth, that is a reflection of who they are, not who you are. And the most powerful thing you can do is stop chasing what's already gone. The more you seek validation from those who withhold it, the deeper you sink into dependence. But the moment you stop trying to earn what should have been freely given, everything shifts. Here's the paradox. The second you stop needing them, they often come back. Not because they've changed, not because they finally appreciate you, but because they feel your energy no longer reaching for them. They feel that absence. But by then, it won't matter. Because by then, you will have already learned that the silence you feared wasn't empty. It was full of truth. Truth you were finally strong enough to hear. There's a dangerous illusion that traps people. The belief that your worth is proven through someone else's attention. That if they see you, if they choose you, if they stay, then you must matter. But that's not self-worth. That's dependency dressed up in desperation. And the cost? It's everything. You begin to measure your value by who calls you back, who pays attention, who gives you praise. And when that attention is gone, you start to question if you were ever enough in the first place. But let's pull that illusion apart. Your value isn't fragile. It doesn't rise and fall based on someone else's perception. If it does, then it was never yours to begin with. It was borrowed, and anything borrowed can be taken. Your worth isn't something to be granted by others. It's something to be owned by you. It doesn't depend on whether someone texts you, wants you, praises you, or stays. It just is. Yet most people don't live that way. They live in a constant hunt for affirmation. They search for someone to validate them, to reflect back their worth. Without it, they feel invisible, empty, forgotten. They don't feel accomplished unless someone congratulates them. They don't feel beautiful unless someone else tells them so. They don't feel valuable unless they're needed. And that right there is the trap. Because that kind of self-worth is like building a house on sand. One wave, one shift in the tide, and everything crumbles. So how do you escape it? How do you create a foundation that holds firm no matter who comes or goes? You learn to validate yourself. You become the source. You define your value by what's real, your discipline, your integrity, your heart, not by the fleeting attention of others. If the whole world went silent, would you still believe you matter? If no one clapped, if no one noticed, would you still stand tall? If your answer is no, then your work begins there. Because true confidence isn't loud. It isn't about proving yourself to anyone. It's quiet, rooted, unshakable. It's the kind that remains steady even when the world looks away. The ones who are truly untouchable in this life aren't those who are adored by everyone. They're the ones who never needed to be. They walk into a room and something shifts. Not because they're loud, not because they demand attention, but because they carry a presence so rooted, so complete, it speaks before they do. There's no show, no performance, just a quiet, steady power that says, I know who I am. They don't chase applause, and that's exactly why people can't look away. Because there's something magnetic about someone who doesn't need to be seen, yet still stands out. You can't fake this kind of presence. You can't pretend to be grounded while secretly hoping someone will notice you. It's not a mask you wear. It's a transformation you live. It takes inner work. Not the kind that's done in front of mirrors or on stages, but in silence when no one is watching. It's about how you talk to yourself, how you carry yourself when no one's affirming you. It's about choosing not to let your emotions get tossed around by someone else's approval or their absence. That kind of strength comes when you finally understand that attention doesn't define your value. That rejection, no matter how sharp, isn't a reflection of your worth. And once you've learned that lesson, not just in your mind but in your bones, you become untouchable, free from the weight of trying to prove something, free from the noise of needing to be enough in someone else's eyes. Because deep down, you already are. There will be moments when you are ignored, moments when your presence feels invisible, when you start to question everything. That silence can feel like a slap. But what if it's not rejection? What if it's an invitation? A chance to see where your confidence still depends on others. That discomfort, that sting, it's not your enemy, it's your mirror. And in that mirror, you'll find the raw truth. Parts of you still waiting for permission to matter. But what if you stopped seeking that permission? What if you stopped trying to fix the silence and instead used it, turned it into a forge, a space to sharpen your edge, not dull your spirit? The people who change history aren't the ones who beg to be seen. They're the ones who, in the quiet, decided to grow so strong, so capable, so excellent, that being ignored became impossible. You don't rise by chasing those who look past you. You rise by becoming someone no one can overlook. And that kind of rise doesn't happen by accident. It comes through effort, discipline, patience, through choosing growth over resentment, craft over complaints, through investing in yourself when no one else will. That's the path the world respects, not the one paved with need, but the one built with purpose. Look at those who've shaped the world, the thinkers, the builders, the creators. They didn't wait for an audience to believe in them. They believed in themselves first. They didn't fill the silence with self-pity. They filled it with action, with relentless progress, with an unwavering belief that their time would come, and that even if it didn't, they'd be whole anyway. And this isn't just about career or success. It's about how you love, how you show up in relationships. If someone pulls away or overlooks you, don't shrink. Don't chase. Become so full, so deeply anchored in your own mission that their absence feels like nothing more than background noise. Real power is not found in being desired. It's found in being whole, even when no one's looking. But here's the hard part. Most won't do this work. Most would rather be bitter than better. They'd rather replay the scene of being overlooked than write a new one. That's why they stay stuck. That's why they never rise. Because they're still waiting for someone else to decide they matter. Ask yourself, are you spending your time trying to be seen, or are you becoming someone worth seeing? Because those are two different lives. One is fragile, always at the mercy of someone else's gaze. The other is solid, unshakable, rooted in truth. And the irony? The moment you no longer need recognition is the moment it starts to come. Not because you begged for it, but because you outgrew the need for it. And when it does arrive, when the world finally notices, you won't feel triumphant. You'll feel calm, because by then, you'll know you never needed it. You were already everything you were searching for. So when you're overlooked, don't shrink. Buildings sharpen, grow. Use the silence. And one day when they finally look your way, it won't matter. Because you will have already become the kind of person who didn't need to be seen to know their worth.